If we could have our Hall of Fame inductees please migrate up to your seats at the podium here, and all of our other honorees. And I'm going to share something with you that I got this morning. In Ireland, the 99-year-old Mother Superior lay quietly. She was dying. The nuns had gathered around her bed, laying garlands around her and trying to make her last journey comfortable. They wanted to give her warm milk to drink, but she declined. One of the nuns took the glass back to the kitchen. Then, remembering a bottle of Irish whiskey that had been received as a gift the previous Christmas, she opened it and poured a generous amount into the warm milk. Back at Mother Superior's bed, they lifted her head gently and held the glass to her lips. The very frail nun drank a little, then a little more, and before they knew it, she had finished the whole glass down to the last drop. As her eyes brightened, the nuns thought it would be a good opportunity to have one last talk with their spiritual leader. "Mother," the nuns asked earnestly, "please give us some of your wisdom before you leave us." She raised herself up very slowly in the bed, on one elbow, looked at them and said, "Don't sell that cow." Luke? I'm living a dream. I could be taller, but I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, we're going to go on the air. We are streaming live. Transformation to this auditorium, this gym. Coach Derger, do you remember this gym at all? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Did you ever raise your voice in this gym? I didn't think so. And we've been joined by any number of luminaries here this afternoon. This is terrific. And how about the LaRosa's pasta and the chocolate chip cookies? Huh? Huh? Who would think that a pizza emporium, the preeminent pizza emporium in the world, could make such a killer chocolate chip cookie? Oh, my lordy. So, are we going to count down to when we go on the air here? Just let me know. Is it 1:30 yet? It is 1:30. Well, let's just presume that we are on the air once again, and look who's back. Buddy LaRosa and his boys and girls gathered here at his alma mater, Roger Bacon, to resume our in-person post-COVID tribute to the best high school athletes of this era and previous generations. My name is Dennis Jansen, and welcome to the 47th renewal of the LaRosa's High School Hall of Fame Athletes of the Year and Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It is great. It is wonderful to be back here in person, surrounded by this year's honorees, their coaches, family, and friends, and to be sharing today's event online with those accessing ICRC-TV.com. We welcome you one and all here and there. Now, to underscore that restoration of normalcy, let's welcome to the podium the Chief Executive Officer of LaRosa's, Mr. Michael LaRosa. Mike?
Thank you, Denny. Good afternoon, everybody. What more fitting location to have our Buddy LaRosa High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony than Roger Bacon High School, where my father attended and graduated back in 1948. So it's very fitting. I want to thank all of our friends at Roger Bacon for opening their doors to us today so that we could have our festivities here. But I want to welcome each of you to now our 47th annual Buddy LaRosa High School Sports Hall of Fame ceremony. Today, you all will join us in recognizing and inducting 5 star athletes, 2 fabled high school championship teams, and we'll be honoring our 2021 and 2022 male and female high school athletes of the year. On behalf of everybody at LaRosa's and our family, we congratulate all of you in attendance as we celebrate the lifelong values that are developed from our high school experiences. It's often said that our high school years are the very best years of our life. It's here that it's set in place the cornerstone for adulthood and the ongoing development that we enjoy. These are the years when we are molded into responsible young men and women who leverage determination and hard work to achieve success. We develop leadership influence and we grow from the values gained through all of our experiences. One of my favorite quotes is that success in life is a team sport. We are all blessed with certain talents and abilities, but success is never achieved alone. It's the combined effort of loving parents, siblings, family members, friends, teammates, trainers, coaches, all striving for excellence. Success is never achieved alone. So today we're going to celebrate some success stories with all of the folks that are going to be up here at the podium. I'd like to again thank our committee of judges and our friends here at Roger Bacon who make today's celebration possible. Especially want to thank Dennis Jansen and Joe Danneman who make this ceremony a first-class event. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mike. In keeping with that and the fact that this is the Sabbath, we would like to invoke the Lord's name and ask him to bless our proceedings here this afternoon. For that, we'll ask Father Mark to step forward for our invocation. Father Mark.
Thank you, Dennis. Let us begin in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is a short reading from the second letter of Paul to his good friend Timothy. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now, there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. The word of the Lord. We thank you, Lord, for the gathering of this family and friends, the good food which we have shared. We ask your blessing on all these athletes and all their great accomplishments, that they may continue to have sound minds and sound bodies, and to be upstanding examples of your love. May you bless all here and all these proceedings in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Father. As already alluded to, we've gone to the bullpen this year to help preside over this afternoon's proceedings. After many years of lending his expertise, mystique, and rich baritone intonations to the program, Paul Keels was not able to join us this time around. He is accepting the Ohio Broadcaster of the Year award this afternoon out of town, so congratulations to Paul. Richly deserved, obviously, for a Muller grad. I mean, what the heck, but... So we have enlisted one of the most promising up-and-comers in the tri-state sports broadcasting to shepherd us through the first portion of today's enterprise. Please welcome Covington Catholic grad and sports director and the trend-setting WXIX-TV sports department, Joe Danneman. Joe, once again, good to see you, bud.
Imagine having to fill in for Paul Keels. My voice doesn't go that deep. It's a good thing you introduced me by my last name, DJ, because being Joe in Cincinnati anymore just doesn't have the same cachet as it once did. I mean, you think about it, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Joey Votto, and of course the late, great Joe Morgan. A quick story before I continue on here with the script. When the Reds were okay, back about 10, 15 years ago, we used to have a lot of Reds games on Fox, and whenever they're on big Fox national audience, they let us do pre- and post-game shows, you know, make a little money, give the Reds a little pub. So Joe Morgan owned a car dealership, and we figured as a station, having Joe Morgan be part of the shows would be a great idea. So he was our presenting sponsor, and part of the deal was that Joe Morgan would join us on the field after the game for a segment to talk about the game. So there I am after the Reds played a game on a Saturday afternoon on the first base line. It's about 10, 15 minutes after the game, and I'm standing next to Joe Morgan. And it's a commercial break, waiting about 2 minutes until we get back and Joe joins me for his segment. And there's this whole group of Reds fans yelling, "Joe, hey, Joe, Joe," trying to get Joe's attention. I turn to Joe Morgan and say, "Joe, I don't think they're talking to me." He looks at me and says, "I know they're not talking to you." You got to have that kind of Hall of Fame swag to hold off that kind of line, and I think we're in a room with a bunch of people who have that kind of Hall of Fame swag. So thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with DJ, the LaRosa family, and to fill in for Paul Keels this afternoon, and to award and nominate or recognize all the great people in this room who've done so many great things. And you think about it, look through just the pamphlet there. You see all these incredible names and great teams that have done so much over all these years, and still today, the Southwest Ohio and Northern Kentucky region continues to produce an array of star-studded athletes, including numerous state champions, All-Americans, future Olympians, and talented student athletes who will take their skills to the next level, competing in colleges and universities all across the nation. So today, we are here to honor the best of the best in 2021 and 2022 with all of the exceptional student athletes. Think about our job here. All these great kids in Northern Kentucky and Greater Cincinnati. We had to pick two. That's the committee's charge, to find the best two, the top male and top female athletes of the year. But we must choose, and choose we did. I would now like to introduce you to the two very gifted student athletes who were chosen as the LaRosa's high school male and female MVPs of the year. First, the 2021-22 LaRosa's female MVP of the year is Chance Gray of Winton Woods High School. For 4 years, Chance Gray was one of Greater Cincinnati's elite basketball players, a McDonald's All-American who scored 2,237 points in her impressive career, which ranks 21st all-time in the OHSAA scoring list. Following 3 All-Star years at Lakota West, Chance joined the Winton Woods team for her senior season and promptly helped them turn the team around, leading the team to a 25-2 record in ECC championship, district championship, both the first in a decade for Winton Woods. Winton Woods had only won 6 games the previous year, but won 25 with Chance in the lineup. She led the ECC in scoring nearly 27 points per game and was second in the league in assists at 3.5 per game. Among numerous other honors, she was named the ECC Offensive Player of the Year, District 16 Player of the Year, and Gatorade Ohio Player of the Year. She was selected to play on the Ohio squad for the Ohio-Kentucky All-Star Game, and of course, because she's that good, she led her Ohio team to victory, scoring a team-high 20 points, and was of course named MVP of the game. Chance Gray has distinguished athletic bloodlines. Her father, Carlton Gray, is a LaRosa's Hall of Famer himself, who starred in football at the old Forest Park High School and at UCLA, and was a second-round draft pick of the Seattle Seahawks. Carlton is now the varsity head girls basketball coach at Winton Woods, where Chance's older sister, Amber Gray, is an assistant coach in the program. Amber, a former basketball All-American in high school, is also an inductee in the LaRosa's High School Sports Hall of Fame. Chance is active in her community, carrying a 4.0 GPA as well in school. She also plays for the Sports City U Club basketball club team and will play collegiately beginning next season at the University of Oregon. Says her head coach and her father, Carlton Gray, Chance is a tireless worker who is self-driven when it comes to improvement of her game every year. She is a very humble kid that is always focused on doing what the team needs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the LaRosa's 2021-2022 Female MVP of the Year, Basketball All-American, Chance Gray. You gotta wait for a standing ovation, Chance. You deserve it.
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank the LaRosa's committee for presenting me with this award, along with so many other great athletes, including my sister and my dad. Thank you for my family for being with me these last couple years, just supporting me and guiding me down the right path. And I will continue this legacy in my next chapter. Thank you, everybody, for today.
Congratulations, Chance. Before I introduce the male winner of the MVP, let's have a show of hands here of how many people score more high school points than LeBron James. There should be one hand in the air. Come on, Paul. Come on, you can't be bashful on me now. Okay, I'll raise it for him. Right there. He's the one. He's the only person in this room that can make that claim. Paul McMillan IV is the LaRosa's 2021-2022 Male MVP of the Year. Look, when you score more points than LeBron James, man, you're pretty special. I don't mean to embarrass you like that. Okay. So that magical moment for Paul occurred during this year's Division II regional semifinals. In the game, McMillan scored 23 points to move past LeBron for number 6 on the Ohio high school all-time scoring list. Top 6 ever. Paul McMillan IV has been a basketball superstar for quite some time and scored an amazing 2,568 points in his great high school career and is the all-time leading scorer in Cincinnati public school history. Paul had a great senior season. Once again, leading the CMAC in scoring, averaging better than 27 points a game, helping his Bulldog team to an undefeated 12-0 record in league play and 23-4 overall. The Bulldogs, of course, were CMAC champs, sectional champs, district champions, and regional runners-up. Paul had games of 41, 40, and 35 points and tied the school record with 45 against Wellington, Florida in 2019. His awards and honors would overflow anybody's trophy case. This past season, he was named Ohio Gatorade Player of the Year, Ohio Division II Co-Player of the Year, Southwest Ohio Division II Player of the Year for the 3rd time, Cincinnati Division II Player of the Year for the 2nd time, plus he was a 3-time first-team All-Ohio Division II selection and a 3-time CMAC Player of the Year. He was a finalist for Mr. Basketball in Ohio and was a McDonald's All-American nominee. Paul holds numerous school records, including three-pointers made in a game, points scored in a game, points in a season, and field goals made in a season. A great student, too. 4.0 GPA. Paul was class co-valedictorian. He is active in community service and was heavily recruited by numerous big-time college programs. He is committed to study and play his basketball collegiately at the New Jersey Institute of Technology in Newark, New Jersey. His varsity basketball coach, Jarrell Redden, says of Paul McMillan IV, Paul's work ethic on and off the court is phenomenal. His passion and dedication are unmatched. He's a winner and a leader by example. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2021-22 LaRosa's Male MVP of the Year and Cincinnati's public school all-time leading scorer, Paul McMillan IV. Congratulations.
First off, I just want to start by saying, Mr. LaRosa, I just want to say, me and my sister, you know, we eat your stuff about 3-4 times a week. You know, your pasta is very good, so if you guys haven't had this pasta, I would recommend you go get that. But first off, I want to thank God, my family, the LaRosa's Hall of Fame committee, Roger Bacon for allowing me to be at their school today, you know, considering we did beat them in the Sweet 16. I also did pass a brother named LeBron James, you know, while beating him as well. So, I want to also say congratulations to all the 2021 Hall of Fame inductees. It's such an honor to be here in front of you guys today, and I don't take this moment for granted. Thank you for everyone who has supported me throughout my high school career, and now it's time for me to take my next steps in my life. Thank you.
Chance Paul, congratulations. Well done. In addition to these two incredible student athletes, we are also inducting two outstanding high school teams from the past into the LaRosa's Sports Hall of Fame today. Today's inductees are legendary high school teams whose accomplishments have withstood the test of time. Championship teams, so exceptional that they are still the gold standard today and remain an unbridled source of pride for their schools, their communities, and their city. The first newly inducted Hall of Fame team is the 1980 Villa Madonna Girls Volleyball State Champs. The script could have been called Hoosiers, but since this took place in Kentucky, the We Are Family Villa Madonna team wrote their own title, a championship title. The 1980 volleyball team clearly fit the bill as the little school in the big school matchup in the fall of 1980 with an enrollment of only 158 girls. Villa Madonna came away with the Kentucky State Championship, crushing Our Lady of Providence 15-4 and 15-1 in the state championship match. The Kentucky State Tournament, keep this in mind, very important note here, is not broken into classes or divisions. So an overall state title meant defeating notable teams out of Louisville and Lexington, who I'm sure were much bigger than Villa, but they still got it done. The Villa Madonna squad featured 4 eventual Division I college athletes. Both Lori Erpenbeck and Freda Simpson went to UK, Lisa Warman went to Florida State, and Stephanie Sheffer played at the University of Tennessee. Her cousin Jane Sheffer wound up also at Thomas More College. One of the team's 2 losses came at the hands of Mother of Mercy, which went on to win the state title in Ohio in Class 3A, coached by LaRosa's Hall of Famer, Rose Bauer Cook. Interestingly, team captain Freddie Simpson starred in the movie A League of Their Own as Ellen Sue, the beauty queen and shortstop, so jog your memory and think back to that. Yeah, she was in that movie. How cool is this? Said the team's coach, Carla Austin, as a coach, one could only dream of a team willing to learn the game of volleyball, to have athletic talent, determination, and the intelligence to understand all the different aspects of the game necessary to be successful. The team members always gave 110% at each practice and game, she said. They all believed in the journey we were on, in working hard and getting along, and they believed we could achieve the goals that we set. This was, without a doubt, she said, a dream team. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to first invite the head coach of the dream team, Carla Austin, to speak about the 1980 Villa Madonna State Champs, and then we'll open it up to the players. I think you have a player who wants to speak on behalf of the team. But first, Carla Austin, 1980 Villa Madonna volleyball team.
Hi, everyone. Joe just did my whole speech. But I'm going to do it again since I have it on paper. Thank you very much for inviting us to join you today. On behalf of the 1980 Villa Madonna volleyball team, we would like to thank the LaRosa family for this prestigious award, as it is an honor to be inducted into the LaRosa's High School Sports Hall of Fame. Receiving this recognition is quite humbling, as 42 years is a long time. I was shocked and excited when Mike LaRosa called me back in October, but it quickly turned to panic at the challenge of having to remember details of 40 years ago, as I struggle remembering details sometimes of 40 minutes ago. Looking back upon the journey leading up to the 1980 Volleyball State Championship made me realize what this team truly accomplished in 3 short years. I want to brag about these ladies' achievements and accomplishments over those 3 years, but my time is limited. So here is what I'd like you to know about the highlights of this team and to share with you the following. This team did not come from a tradition of championship teams to live up to, but were prepared to make a legacy of their own. We were an all high school team, or a high school student body of approximately 158 students, to say the least. A small school is an understatement and a challenge in itself. The best of the 1980 championship team did not happen overnight. Our previous 2 seasons were the building block to their success. In these 2 years, great efforts were put forth by the team. Concentration on building their skill fundamentals, learning the game, the art of controlling your nerves and emotions, the art of winning, the art of getting along, such an important element in team sport. The first year the team finished 14-12. It was this first year that built the foundation of their future. This was the year that allowed the team to fast track to success. I do remember this year was full of challenges. I would like to just say it was the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly. But they held true to their commitment, continuing to improve and work towards the goal of winning a state championship. Their dedication and determination remained solid. In year 2, the team finished 23-11, with the hopes of the opportunity to compete in Kentucky's first state volleyball title. That year, the team made unimaginable progress in their skills and their determination to win, mastering many aspects of the game. Of those 11 losses, 5 of those losses came against the same team, the eventual state winner. Those hopes to compete for the state title faded as we lost in the semifinals, only to finish 3rd in the state. Expectations were high for the 1980 season, as the goal of the team rested on winning a state championship. The 1980 championship season took on a life of its own as the team adopted the song "We Are Family." As the season developed and intensified, the family grew. Each team member brought a special value to the strength of the team. Each team member played a unique role that contributed to the success of the season. Each day, they challenged each other to show up, be better than you were the day before, and to focus. Each day, they encouraged and supported each other. Each day, they required from each other to always do your best. Each day, they were willing to work hard, to become successful, and to have fun and enjoy the experience. Each day, they began where they ended the day before. The state tournament and championship match were held at the University of Kentucky Memorial Coliseum, and the team we played in the finals happened to be the team that eliminated us in the semifinals the year before. The support from our families, friends, faculty, and alumni was incredible. The entire school came out in force, all 158. Just prior to the start of the match, during the warm-up, someone managed to get the Coliseum facility operator to play "We Are Family" over the sound system, which elevated the craziness of the moment. When the match began and the moment was here, everything they had worked for 3 years was on the line, and the goal of the championship was here within their grasp. But all of a sudden, in the beginning of the match, we were down 3-0. Timeout, let's talk about this. I don't remember exactly what was said in the timeout, but it was probably along the lines of, "You guys a little nervous? Take a deep breath. Remember to breathe. Stick to your fundamentals. And oh, by the way, don't forget this is the team that eliminated us last year." We went on to win the game 15-4. Game 2 was all us. Completely focused with the degree of precision you could only wish for your team to perform during a championship match. When the score was 13-1, we returned to our starting rotation, and I remember saying to Diane, our scorekeeper, "We're going to win this daggone thing." No one seems to remember how we scored the final winning match point, but I don't think any of us really cared. The realization of those years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication had been fulfilled. 5 of those team members went to college. Here are the team members that made it all happen, 39-2. Monica Barnes, Julie Coleman, Polly Rippey, Jill Shepard, Debbie Warner, Jane Shepard, who went to Thomas More, Stephanie Shepard, who played at the University of Tennessee, Lisa Warman, who went to Florida State University, and Freda Simpson and Lori Erpenbeck went to the University of Kentucky. This entire year is full of a collection of memories deeply rooted and continues to spark great joys in remembering. Let me close by saying, no one is successful alone. There are many individuals behind our victories. To everyone that contributed to developing the growth, success of this team, we cannot thank you enough for your involvement. Thank you to our families, friends, mentor for unwavering support. Thank you to the Villa's administration and faculty for their never-ending encouragement, values, and for the challenges you set forth in the classroom. A special thanks go out to our superstar supporters, our principal at the time, Sister Nancy Cordenbrack, and faculty member Mary Jo Recton, here with us today, evidence we are family. To all of you here today celebrating your sports achievement and recognition, congratulations. Again, thank you for this honor, and it gives me great pleasure to accept this award on behalf of our team. I believe team member Freda Simpson is here to say a few words, but thank you very much.
not much to. One thing I thought was kind of interesting was you were talking about Hoosiers, and I was going to say that really was the feeling of our team. All of this little team, you know, we played all the sports, softball, basketball, volleyball. We went from one sport to the next. And what's also interesting to me personally is I went out to Los Angeles and acted, and it was David Anspaugh who directed Hoosiers, who hired me for A League of Their Own. So I just thought, wow, what a funny connection that is. Yeah. What I mostly remember is the team is only as strong as the weakest link, and that meant if someone made a mistake or someone messed up, we picked each other up. Never stay in the game. Always get your serves in the court. We had to pay, what was it, a quarter every time we missed a serve, which was a lot back then. Again, finally, we are family. You know, I would say that there was no star on our team. You know, it really was every single person fighting with all of their might to do what had to be done. And so I want to thank all of you and all of the people who supported us and every single person on that team and all the life lessons that you gave us to carry on. And if ever there was a time when we needed We Are Family, it's now. So thank you.
Fred, I don't know if anybody told you, you're supposed to sing the lyrics to We Are Family before you go back to your seat. Microphone's open. Any of the teammates want to come up here and sing it as well. To officially accept the award for the 1980 State Championship Volleyball Team, Villa Madonna Athletic Director Jim Demler. Yeah, come on up, Jim. Jim, you can sing We Are Family if you want to. You know the words? He'll pass. Okay.
Hi, I'm Jim Demler. I'm the athletic director at Villa Madonna Academy here currently, and it's my great pleasure to accept this award on behalf of our school and our current principal, Pam Mccoy, for the 1980 Villa Madonna Volleyball State Championship team. And congratulations to the coaches, players, and staff for this recognition. This is awesome. The LaRosa's Greater Cincinnati Hall of Fame is one of the most prestigious awards in the area. And thank you to the LaRosa's and the nomination committee for this honor for our volleyball team here at Villa Madonna. That 1980 state championship team is still the most outstanding team accomplishment in school history by a long shot. And we proudly display their state championship picture plaque in our school gym conference room, and their banner hangs proudly in our gym. This is a constant reminder to our student athletes, and I get that all the time. Mr. Demler, did we really win a state volleyball championship? I said, yes, we did. And you know, it's a great constant reminder for our community, our school, our visitors of that 1980 special team. Although our volleyball team has not come close to a state title since 1980, we have a great tradition of winning numerous conference championships over at Northern Kentucky at the Division III level, and great reputation of being a solid program. And you know, our current coach has been there for 20 years, and she has over 400 career wins. So definitely that framework that this team established there in 1980 stands true, and those girls see that 1980 state championship in their gym every day. So thank you very much. We'll proudly display this recognition at the school, and thanks again for inviting us. And I don't know, what was the mascot back in 1980? We've changed a few times. The Vixens, so go Vixens, and go Vikings. So there we go.
Congratulations again to the Villa Madonna Academy 1980 state champs. Welcome back, and congratulations, guys. One more team to recognize here, and this is one of my all-time favorite high school teams in Cincinnati sports history, the 2004 undefeated state championship football team of Colerain High School. Yes, sir. Let's give them a round of applause. My script says arguably one of the 5 best high school football teams in greater Cincinnati history. Arguably, I don't know. They're number 1 for me. They're the best I've seen. Look, I'm younger. I'm sure some of the older folks in the room have seen teams that I don't know about, but I've never seen a team as complete, as dominating, as intimidating as the 2004 Colerain football team. They blitzkrieged through the regular season and postseason, led by LaRosa's Hall of Famer and MVP of the year, Dominic Goodman. The Cardinals were the Ohio Division I state champion and finished number 1 in the nation by Max Preps, number 5 by USA Today. This is truly one of the great stats to me in Cincinnati area high school football history. This team was so overpowering. Its defense scored more points than its defense allowed. Think about that. Their defense scored more points in a season than they allowed for the entire year. Coach Kerry Combs truly believes the groundwork for this team was laid in 2003 when the Cardinals lost by a point to Elder in the regional championship game. Elder went on to win the state title that year. Said Kerry Combs, quote, "I think that disappointment motivated the team all the way through the next year, culminating with a state championship. I believe what made the 2004 team different from other teams, these guys played basketball together," said Coach. "They worked out together. They hung out together from the time they were 11 years old until their last game in Canton. They knew each other better than anyone else, and more importantly," said Coach, "they truly loved each other." After an inauspicious start in the state title game that saw Colerain lose 3 fumbles, I remember this, 3 fumbles in its own territory, and falling behind 13th ranked Canton McKinley 10-6, listen to this final score. Down 10-6, the Cardinals put on a record-setting show with a 50-10 win over the Bulldogs. 44 unanswered, guys. It's unbelievable. It was the most points scored and the largest margin of victory in the big school title game, and senior quarterback Dominic Goodman rushed for a division record 259 yards and 4 touchdowns. Colerain, which outscored its 5 playoff opponents 191-22, set a division state finals record with 463 yards rushing in that game and held McKinley to just 127 total yards. In addition to Dominic Goodman, other key players on this squad included LaRosa's 2005-2006 MVP of the year, offensive lineman Connor Smith, defensive lineman and LaRosa's Hall of Famer Terrell Bird and his brother Turdell, free safety Eugene Clifford, running backs Mr. Simpson and Terrence Shearer, and linebackers Andre Rebels and Cabrani Mixon. Because this afternoon would not be complete, and it just would not feel right, and I don't think it would be nearly as fun without Kerry Combs. Here are a few words on video from the state champion head coach of that Colerain team, Mr. Kerry Combs.
Good afternoon. I want to start by apologizing for not being there in person with you guys this afternoon. When you're a college football coach, June is a major recruiting month and just can't find a chance to get away, and so I apologize for that. More than anything today, I want to thank the LaRosa family for including the 2004 Colerain football team in their Hall of Fame. Buddy and his sons have meant so much to our town, and as a kid who grew up on the west side and spent every single Friday night going to LaRosa's after the game to get our pizza and hang out in the parking lot, we have shared in this experience with LaRosa, the LaRosa family for over 50 years. And so thank you very much to all of you and what you have meant to our town. I want to thank Michael Palercio and the selection committee for including us in such a great event. And Michael, I know I have worn you out with video and trying to get everything organized, and I appreciate your patience with me a great deal. I want to congratulate the other honorees that are in attendance today. You know, Cincinnati high school sports and Cincinnati athletics are legendary, and to be included in this Hall of Fame is truly a special recognition of your careers and the types of people that you are. Now I'd like to talk just a little bit about this 2004 team, some of whom's members are here in the audience today, and I appreciate Goody and Brian and Justin and Terrell being present to represent their teammates on a day like today. The 2004 Colerain football team was a team of talent, maybe one of the more talented teams that have ever played anywhere. That team was able to score more than 40 points in 8 of the 10 regular season games. And the defense didn't allow a first half touchdown in the 10 regular season games, and only 2 in the playoffs. It was a team that was able to consistently perform week in and week out, whether it was running the triple option or the slant and angle 50 defense. There were always going to be 11 kids playing really, really hard on the field every day. Many of those kids went on to very, very tremendous college football careers here locally at Cincinnati and Miami, and at programs like Ohio State and the team up north. And those kids had great high school careers, and they benefited from playing in such an environment. The 2004 Colerain football team was a team of triumph over adversity. It was a team that had experienced heartbreaking defeats at the end of the 2002 and 2003 seasons. Defeats that would cause lesser men and lesser teams to buckle, to fold, to contemplate, what is it all for? Why do all of this hard work in the off season in the weight room to get to those final games and experience such crushing disappointment? I do believe that the closeness of those games made the team that much closer. And I think that bond that was formed in that disappointment, that kind of forged an iron-like will to propel them in the 2004 season. There was not a single day in the off season leading up to 2004 where our kids did not talk about trying to right the wrongs and the mistakes that had been made in the games leading up to that season. 2004 Colerain football was absolutely and emphatically, and most importantly, a team of community. Those chants of "We Are Colerain" that occurred on Friday nights in our stadium or on the road were real, and they resonated. We had an entire community that got together and put a field turf stadium down in the off season between 2003 and 2004. Most of that field was purchased and paid for by donations of $5 and $10 and $15, $20 from everybody in the community. They felt a part of that team. And on Friday night, when those players came out of that locker room and they walked down those steps and they heard the clickety-clack of the cleats and they smelled the popcorn in the air, and they could look to their right and they could see that the stands were full and the people would rise to their feet as they came down those steps and entered that field. They felt it, and they played for their community. When we had a send-off before the state championship game, and everybody showed up at Colerain High School to send that team off on a bus on a way to victory. And then when we played that game, oh my goodness, in Camp McKinley's home stadium, to be out there and to see that our fans had taken over that town and taken over that stadium. Our kids were playing for their community, and they felt it every day. It was one of the most special teams of all time, and Max Preps and others have listed that team among the top 10 high school football programs in the country for all time's sake, and I think it's well-deserved. But more than anything, I think that these kids would tell you, and I know that I can tell you personally, that those times together on the practice fields of Colerain in that weight room, getting on those yellow school buses and taking our trip, whether it was to Welcome Stadium to play Kilbourne or up to Yeager Stadium to play Moeller, and certainly the state championship game, those are times that we will not forget. This team is a team that won't be forgotten, mostly because of what it meant to its community. And so I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to work with those kids and to be able to run out on the field with them. I was blessed to have a coaching staff that was incredible. That some of those guys have gone on to be great high school head coaches in their own right. And I was grateful to have my son on that team as well. It was a family community. It was a family team in a family community in the west side of Cincinnati, and those things don't happen very many other places. So thank you again, LaRosa family, for recognizing us. Thank you, men that are in attendance today. Thank you for those of you who might be watching this and catching a glimpse of it somewhere else. You will forever be special in my heart and the hearts of the people of Colerain. Thank you.
We do have a few members of that team who would like to come up here and say a few words. I believe, Dominic, I think you were volunteered in the back, so I think you got to come up here as well. So, members of the 2004 Colerain State Championship team, come get your flowers.
Well, it's hard not to win when you're playing for that guy too. By the way, he really he gets it out of you no matter if you don't have an ounce of talent or you have all the talent in the world. So I know Coach Combs. He spoke about community. Couldn't agree more. It was something from our childhood. I mean, we all have known each other since we were 5 years old. Played basketball together. We were 5. Played basketball when we were older. Played college football together with Dominic. I mean, we've all known each other forever, and it was that way for the whole team. And I think that's really what showed when winning the state championship. We all knew each other. We knew our tendencies. We knew everything about each other, and so it was easy to get out there and play well together when you knew your brothers pretty much for your whole life. And so that was really an exciting part about it for us, just winning with guys that we had grown up with forever. But this championship, it wasn't just for us. It wasn't for the coaches. It wasn't just for our parents. It was a community victory. It was something that, you know, I know we'll look back at 40, 50 more years from now and still call each other up and we can share some good stories. So just thank you for the committee. Thank you for everybody here in attendance, and you know, especially thank you to these guys and the rest of our teammates that couldn't be here, and Coach Combs for just pulling us all together and just making this such a special season and a special lifetime achievement. So thank you.
Just once again, thanks LaRosa's for this opportunity. Thanks everybody here in Cincinnati, and also congratulations to all the Hall of Fame inductees and the MVPs. It's a great honor. Like Justin said, that team is real special. There was a moment during them years I was thinking about quitting football, so I was gonna focus on basketball. But with the team, the guys I grew up since I was like 5 years old with, and it was many of them I grew up with, played against each other in Pee Wee, and it just miraculously we came together as a core in high school. They kept me from continue playing, because it's like once you get out of school, it's like, what else do you do? All my buddies playing football, they're in the weight room, so shoot, I don't want to leave that. So that continued having me continue playing, and also just being around my guys and just wanting to see them succeed. It wasn't so much about winning awards, winning state championships. It's just like if we're not winning, we're not doing nothing. So nobody's gonna get the success they need to get. So pretty much we just worked hard for each other, and we just want to see everybody succeed and do great. And that's what team is all about. And just once again, thanks again. And I'm just over here a little nervous but thanks again.
I want to first start by thanking the committee. Well, first off, start by thanking God, actually. Second, I would like to thank the committee for allowing us and presenting us with this award this year. You know, we worked our butts off, just like many of you in this room. I'll give you a quick story and then I'll let everybody kind of go. But, going back to what the volleyball team was saying, we're only as strong as our weakest link. And when we won that state championship game prior to in the first quarter, when we were losing 10-6, he was our weakest link at the time. When we go back to brotherhood and we go back to, building each other up and picking each other up, I've known this kid right here since I was 5, him since probably when I was 4, and we know our tendencies just like they were saying. And, I had to give him a little speech, a little talking to, on the sideline that, I won't repeat in this room, but, it was a little bit of motivation, to allow him to get to where he's at right now with the MVP and everything, and, to put those 50 points up on the board. But, I want to thank everybody in this room. I want to thank the people that couldn't make it today. My Colerain alumni and brothers that, blood, sweat, and tears with me on the football field. So I want to thank everyone. Appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Officially accepting the award on behalf of the 2004 Colerain State Championship football team is Colerain Athletic Director Matt Stoynoff. Matt.
I just want to thank the committee and the LaRosa's family for this opportunity. You know, a quick story about that team. So I was a freshman on the 2004 team, and at the end of the year, they moved up about 8 or 10 freshmen to play scout team. It was not fun, you know, being blocked by Connor Smith and trying to tackle Goody and Shelton and Mr. Simpson running at you. It was not a fun time, but it was a great experience, something I'll remember forever. So when you walk into the front lobby of Colerain High School, the 2004 football team picture is there. The trophy is next to it, and now forever. This will sit next to the trophy. So on behalf of Colerain High School and Northwest Local School District, we want to thank you.
Before I turn it back over to DJ to induct our new Hall of Fame members, a quick story about Kerry Combs. And he mentioned the "We Are Colerain" chant. I think, guys, it was the state semifinal game. It was a rainy night. Was that state semifinals? It was a rainy night. And Kerry's giving this impassioned speech to everybody in the crowd. He's doing push-ups. He's getting pumped up. He said something at the end of his speech that still sticks with me today. I even tell my boys now this as they're growing older and becoming teenagers. He told everybody on the team, and I know you guys remember this, to go home, hug your moms, and kiss your dads. Okay? So I say the same thing to my boys now, and I make sure even my teenage son, 13 years old, he has to give me a kiss on the cheek once a month, and I learned that from Kerry Combs. Congratulations, guys. Well done. Now to induct our Hall of Fame members, Mr. Dennis Jansen. Denny.
Thank you. That's heartwarming. I would like to take a moment to introduce the women and men who have pored over reams of records and publications to winnow down the huge list of nominees that we have every year to the best of the best who are being honored here today. In attendance are the following members of the LaRosa's High School Hall of Fame Selection Committee: Joe Jacobs, Bill Mefford, Mike and Mark LaRosa, Mary Jo Huseman, Andy McWilliams, Wayne Box Miller, and yours truly. And how about a nice round of applause for your efforts and for their dutiful consideration and selections. And before we get into our newest inductees into the Hall of Fame, let's salute those who are here today who were previously inducted. Mary Jo Huseman is here. Coach, nice to see you. Dick Ernst is over there at that table as well. John Popovich, sports director at Channel 9 for many years. John was my boss. We had a wonderful time together. Carlton Gray is here, along with the aforementioned Dominic Goodwin. So a round of applause for our previous Hall of Fame inductees. I was at work when I got the call from Mike LaRosa. Yes, it was quite surprising. I felt like, wow, I played a long time ago. I had to ask Tara Booth Smith if she ever reflected on how good she was. I could almost sense her blushing a bit when she said, yeah, you know, I was pretty good. And a lot of people had heaped praise on her over the years. And now she is getting it from her kids, who she says are enjoying her Hall of Fame status. And the fact that she accomplished so much at Highlands High School makes it all the more special, because some of the great players that have come through that program over there with the Bluebirds. And the fact that she continued her career at Xavier was a plus, because her family could see her play there as well. As for what drove her, well, rivalries for one, she said, like hers with Boone County and the legendary Nell Fuchs teams. And then the competition with her older brothers and their friends. Quote, now they talked a lot of trash, telling me that I wasn't that good, and it made me want to get better. It was a motivator. I asked if she ever got the best of them. Quote, they'd say no, but I think I did. Today underscores that assessment. After all, she is now a member of the LaRosa's High School Hall of Fame. Regrettably, the corona scourge has visited itself on Tara and her family, so they cannot be with us in person, but she joins us virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, an ovation for Tara Booth, Highlands High School class of 2002. Check out the video screen.
Hi guys, sorry I couldn't be there with you today in person to accept this and celebrate everyone that is being inducted into the Hall of Fame today. It's an awesome accomplishment, and I really appreciate everyone at LaRosa's for recognizing what we've all done, and it is truly a great accomplishment. I want to say thank you to my parents, who without them none of this would have been possible, from shuttling me around everywhere to paying for all these sports and getting me wherever I needed to be. It's now having kids, I recognize the sacrifices that they made along the way, and it is extremely appreciated, and I owe all this to them. My kids, who now, like I said, I'm getting the other side of it with shuttling them around, and they want to keep the tradition of number 33 going, and they all think it's cool to wear that number and talk about those accomplishments. And they put me up there with Michael Jordan when they talk about the best basketball players, so that I'll take it as long as I can. My husband, who moved up here from Florida, and he tolerates everyone telling him what a great player his wife was, and he's super proud, even though he wasn't there to see me play or anything like that. I was lucky to play with some great players and have some great coaches, and all of that stuff put me in the position I was in to succeed, and my brothers for pushing me along the way and letting me kind of beat up on them in the driveway in basketball, even though they will claim that I never won. But all of this stuff and all these people that were a part of this, I couldn't have done it without them. And just want to say thank you and congratulations to everyone on their accomplishments and getting inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Too bad she couldn't be here with us in person, but so it goes. Swimming set the tone for most of what our next inductee has achieved in his remarkable life. An individual pursuit in a team context is a high calling, and Pete Carruthers answered that call in most commendable fashion. When we talked earlier this week, he spoke about, quote, having a common purpose. The sense of camaraderie that engenders is beautiful. The old misery loves company theory. It clearly builds a special bond, and in his case, being in stressful situations like having to come from behind in a relay event was something he embraced with calmness and poise and perseverance. I say that because it was observed that during his post-swimming career as a United States Marine Corps infantry officer for 2 deployments in Afghanistan, he demonstrated noteworthy calm, poise, and perseverance in the midst of firefights. Quoting again, if you freak out in a tough situation, other people might freak out. And it goes back to his love of being part of a unit. Everyone is in it for the team. It should be noted that Pete was the only member of his Stanford team that entered military service. Why did he make that life-altering decision, I asked him. Simple, he replied. If not me, who? It's not for everybody. But everyone gathered here today owes him and his team members a debt of gratitude and a rousing ovation for Pete Carruthers, our next inductee to the LaRosa's High School Hall of Fame, representing the St. Xavier class of 2004. Pete?
What an honor! Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. What an honor to be up here. This is truly incredible. I'd first off like to thank my in-laws for making it down. It's really special to have you guys down here. My own family couldn't make it, which is a bummer, but it's really great to have you guys support. And the common theme that you hear from everybody that comes up here is you wouldn't be here without your support network. I like to say that it took a village to raise this idiot, and I truly mean it. So I would be remiss to not thank all of the people that are really the reason that I'm up here. Starting with my family, my mom and dad. I remember my mom always chasing me around the dining room table to get me to do my math homework. I was an absolute nightmare as a child, and they actually put me in swimming the reason they say is because I needed to burn off some steam, and I think that worked. But But ultimately, I was such a nightmare in the classroom. I needed something to be proud of because it certainly wasn't going to be school. So thank you to my parents for putting me in swimming. My brother Josh was always my role model and somebody I look up to and still aspire to be today. And my sister Boo, who was my biggest supporter, always cheering me on and really proud of the swimmer that I became. I've also got to thank my teammates, the St. Xavier institution. It really is a great program, and I wouldn't be here without the teammates to my left and right. They really pushed me to be my best. And the teachers that are put in place to be those role models at St. X, it really is unmatched. And I just am so fortunate to have benefited from that experience. And certainly my coach, Coach Brower, I know, we obviously induct coaches into the Hall of Fame, and, he was the greatest high school swimming coach of all time, so, shameless plug there. And so the, final thank you, and I swear I'm not making this up. I didn't get, slipped a $100 bill before coming up on stage, but growing up, it was a tradition to eat pizza before a championship meet every single year, and nowadays that's probably frowned upon. You probably wouldn't want to eat pizza before a really important competition, but that's what we did. And being a Cincinnati boy, we ate LaRosa's, obviously. Now I distinctly remember when I was 14. I don't know who it was, but someone ordered a lesser brand of pizza. I don't know, it's probably blasphemy for me to even name it, but I'll just say it started with a P and rhymed with operons. So I specifically remember this because I was going to zones. It was a meet that I had qualified for, and I was going head to head with this other kid who was, quite frankly, a man-child. I mean, this kid had muscles where a 14-year-old should not have muscles at that point in their life. And I got crushed. He decimated me. The following year, we got the proper LaRosa's feast before the zone meet, and I crushed him. So I'm up here to say that I can confidently say that all of my accolades, all my accomplishments as a swimmer are directly as a result of LaRosa's pizza. So. So thank you. No, but seriously, I mean, it is such an honor to be up here. Wouldn't be here without all of those people that supported me along the way. And obviously, really humbling to share the stage with such fantastic and incredible athletes to my left and right and behind me. So congratulations to all of you, and just honored to be here. So thank you.
Jason Drusso would typically have been on the road, but he just happened to be in the office that day and checked his phone calls, and there it was. A call from 513-347-1111. Why would LaRosa's be calling me, he thought. Well, Jason is in the food and beverage business and thought maybe it had to do with a business-related issue. Not so. He was stunned and obviously delighted to be informed by Mike LaRosa that he'd been selected for induction to the Hall of Fame. Jason played every sport he could starting around 7th grade. Baseball, basketball, football, swimming, even BMX bike racing. He was introduced to sports at an early age, was blessed with good coaches, and coupled with being very competitive, with a love of being part of a team and being imbued with a burning desire to win as a team, the die had been cast. He's encouraging his own kids to try them all. As he sees it, grade school and high school sports is leadership school. He told me that sports can teach you things that you can build on and employ throughout your life. And while he excelled in football and baseball, there was something appealing about swimming because other than relays, it was an individual test. And being in control of one's own destiny, he says, had a unique appeal. But team sports provided that camaraderie, the chance to share and handle adversity, to pull together as a team. He calls his high school days a storybook experience and set the stage for an equally rewarding college career. And it reaches one end of the rainbow here this afternoon as he joins the best of the best as a member of the LaRosa's High School Hall of Fame. Please welcome Jason Drusso, Anderson High School, class of 1993. That okay?
Yep, all good. All right, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the committee. You know, I'm so grateful to be up here. I'm in such great company, and you know, it's just a special group of talented athletes up here, and I just feel fortunate to be included. I'd also like to thank the LaRosa family for what you do for the high school community, sports specifically. It's incredible, and I know it doesn't happen in every city like this. I remember getting the call in 1993 for the Buddy LaRosa Athlete of the Year. Pretty special moment. I was floored. Definitely didn't expect to get that award then, and it's even better standing up here right now. It's something I'll remember forever. Everything I accomplished in life ties back to three things. It ties back to my family, my coaches, and my teammates. I'll start off with swimming. My coach from 9U to 13U was Tim Morrison. He started the Anderson Barracudas. I was going to quit swimming in the 7th grade because I wanted to play basketball. I thought it's what I wanted to do. And he thought I was making the wrong decision. So what he did is he went to the athletic director and the principal, and he wasn't a teacher at the school. He was coaching Anderson Barracudas. He trained a team at 4 in the morning and came in for double practices later in the afternoon. He asked them to get me out of study hall to keep me swimming, and he coached me 5 days a week. And because of that, I went back in the 8th grade, went back to swimming, and won my first state championship as a 14U breaststroke swimmer. So thanks to Tim Morrison for getting me back in swimming. He later turned over the Barracudas to Larry Lyons. Larry Lyons was a pretty special coach in 1989. Larry took what Tim built to another level. Larry's style of coaching was special. He was strategic, innovative, and caring. He was just not focused on what you were doing in the water, and he was also, it was a three-pronged approach. He obviously had great strategic workouts that you were going through in the water, but also dry land and strength training that was different than what other teams I think were doing at the time. But also he got the mental part of the game. He was actually at 15 years old having us meditate and visualize the perfect race. I was like, at first we were trying to just figure this thing out, but I transferred that to every sport that I played, baseball, football, and carried that into college. So that was a pretty special memory for me. I'm not sure how many people realize the magic that was happening at Anderson High School during that time with the Anderson Barracudas and what Larry was doing. Kids from all over the city were coming there to train with Larry. Everywhere. Anderson practiced from like 2 to 4:30, and then a whole nother drove of kids came in from schools from Country Day, Seven Hills, multiple other schools. He took that team to a national championship my senior year, and I happened to be a part of it, which was a special memory. I think there's a couple, I think there's 3 or 4 swimmers that are actually in the Hall of Fame at this moment. Football. So I think everybody knows who Vince Seriano is. He's a legend in Anderson, an icon in the Cincinnati football community, and then he's also in the Ohio High School Coaches Hall of Fame. Vince is the most inspirational motivator that I've ever had the pleasure to play for, and I've played for some pretty darn good coaches. He too was strategic, innovative, and most of all a player's coach. He cared about each of us individually, treated us with respect, but demanded excellence day in and day out. Vince, I look at as like a rainmaker, what he did for Anderson High School. He built a program in Anderson and brought it up from nothing. It didn't happen overnight. I know he fought to put this program on the map, and to this day, just, you know, we were talking at the table over there about one of his speeches before a game that's going in some documentary for how Anderson football came to what it is today. I just want to channel that spirit and that passion anytime that I'm trying to inspire followership. So thanks for being here today, Crystal and Vince. Got from my other page. Next, my teammates. I can't leave them out. Specifically the ones that opened the holes for me because they were typically pretty big. My offensive line, Jeff Haas went to Akron. Jeremy Streck, Kentucky. Joe Dunn, Indiana State, played fullback. Nate Cosman, Miami University, tight end. J.B. Mons, Air Force Academy. Chris Haywood, Kent State. I mean, this is what Vince was building there. This didn't happen overnight. It was hard work in the weight room. There's many more besides that. Next, Jason Bell Rqb, who is our commander. A little story since we're also at Roger Bacon. During our freshman year, I wasn't starting at running back. I was actually on the bench. We were losing to Roger Bacon, and at halftime, Jason, we were a team similar to the Colerain guys. We've been playing together since we were 10 years old. We grew up together. We knew each other. We hadn't lost a game in I think like 5 years, and the only game we lost was to Pasadena Lakes, Florida, and Fort Lauderdale in the national championship. He went up to the coach, why isn't Drusso playing? You put him in, the first time he touches the ball, he's going to score. Sure enough, the coach gave in, put me in, first touch, 70 yards for a touchdown. Changed my high school career. So thanks to Jason. Next, my parents, they were the best. My mom was always there to support me and provide guidance as well as keep me grounded. She was my biggest fan. You could hear her not missile, but it sounded like a missile, whistle a mile away, whether it was for me or another teammate. You always knew she was at a game. She always was good to make sure that she picked me up when I was down, and also made sure that I smelled the roses when things were going well. My father was my mentor from the beginning, from coaching t-ball to creating a not-whole team when, for some reason, I don't know if they didn't sign me up in time, or I don't know what the excuse was, but I wasn't on a team, so he created one. And we weren't very good, but got me playing baseball. He also coached soccer, and I think he filmed every single moment of my athletic career as well. His highlight films still to this day are legendary status in Anderson High School. NFL films had nothing on him. Both did a great job keeping me focused, grounded, most of all just be a good human being. I wouldn't be here today without them. Last but not least, my wife Katie. She wasn't there to see it, but thanks to my dad, it's all documented, and we got all these CDs, DVDs 2 years ago, and she got to watch all of it. So she gets it now. I sure lucked out to find her. We have a blessed life. We have 4 kids. Ryder actually got to make it here. He was playing in a national baseball tournament, 6'2" pitcher over there. And he was in Milwaukee. They drove up this morning to make this today. My other son won the Indiana USSA state championship in baseball, qualified for another tournament, so he's not here. I wish he was here. He's 10. And I have Piper and Poppy, 7 and 5. I think my hope is that they're going to be my swimmers. So they're my last hope. So, you know, what I'm trying to get to here is, you know, at the end of the day, I just hope that my kids have the gifts of the great coaches that I had. It's pretty special. And that I hope Katie and I can be the parents that our parents were to us. So thanks for this honor. Truly a pleasure to be here. All right.
I asked Luke Kuechly when we spoke earlier this week if, with all the distractions intruding on athletes' attention these days, if he could replicate the success he had at St. Xavier, Boston College, and then the Carolina Panthers. Without hesitation, he said, yes, absolutely. Quoting now, there will always be distractions, but it's how you manage them. Prioritize what's important and do your job. And few players have done their job with the passion and proficiency that Luke Kuechly brought to work. When I asked what drove him, he said simply that I loved the game of football. I loved the competition. I loved the teamwork, the accountability from practice and preparation to games. For him, sports provided a tremendous opportunity to be around a lot of great people. Quoting again, without that exposure, I wouldn't have learned how to succeed, how to fail, how to deal with adversity. Wouldn't have learned to toughness and other life lessons. For that and so much more, I will always be thankful. Being part of something bigger than yourself, having people rely on you, and you had to do your job so they could do theirs. Sharing success and failure together, that was really cool. I asked Luke about his retirement from the Panthers and the NFL, leaving on his own terms, as it were. He said, I wished I could have played on, but there comes a moment when it is time to go. I'm grateful I had the chance to play as long as I did. I wanted to be known as somebody who never phoned it in and that I was a good teammate. Well, actually, he was a great teammate and so much more, which is why we honor Luke Kuechly, St. Xavier High School class of 2009, as our next inductee to the LaRosa's High School Hall of Fame. Luke?
Joe, after that Warren Sapp story, I didn't know where you were going with it, but I think it stayed pretty safe. But I'm happy to be here today. I want to thank, obviously, Roger Bacon for putting this on, Beth Rupert and Mike Colerain for answering all the emails, making sure I got everything set up, allow my family to be here. It's a tremendous honor. And obviously Mike and the whole LaRosa family for putting this on. I think everybody knows how big of an impact LaRosa's played in the Cincinnati landscape, especially on Fridays during Lent. Everybody knew what the deal was. You're getting a cheese pizza and a fish sandwich, and it wasn't even talked about. So I think football and sports have taught me a lot throughout my life, and just how to deal with different things. And I think the commonality, not only in football but in sports, is a sense of community and purpose. And you know, you guys have talked about before on your guys' teams just how important the sense of community is. And I think as you get higher in sports, the different levels you move up to, that goes away a little bit because priorities change. But I think high school sports are the last level where that's really possible. And you guys coming up here and speaking, I remember watching that team, and I just think what you guys spoke about that made such a big impact on you guys was not only the guys on your team, but Coach Combs. And we were very fortunate at St. Xavier High School to have Steve Speck, that was the same kind of guy. Coach Combs gets up here and talks, and for the longest time he was the enemy, and every time I hear him talk, I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna like that guy. And that's the deal now. But I was very fortunate from a young age to have those kind of coaches and have that community. It started in grade school with the Golden Bears, Kevin Harris, Tom Grau, and then Ralph Perdrix coached 7th and 8th grade. And then when I got to St. Xavier High School, it was the exact same thing. We had Ralph Nardini coaching freshman football, Dan Zepp coaching the sophomore team, the JV team, then obviously Steve Speck. And I think as young, impressionable kids, the sooner you can get around a good role model in the sports space, the better off you can be. And I think I was very fortunate in my career to have those guys all throughout my whole time playing sports. I remember the thing with Coach Harris, it was always show up on time and be respectful. And the first thing we had to do every practice was run around the backstop. We had practice in left field. You had to run around the backstop when the church bell went off and come back, and you better not be late. And there was that example. And then also that first year we had a kid, every time you catch the ball, your job is to hand the ball back to the official. One of our guys caught a big ball, a big in cut, spiked the ball, walked back to the huddle. Coach Harris walked out on the field, grabbed him, and he sat on the bench for the rest of the game. So it didn't matter how good you were, what kind of player you were, how much you impacted the team. If you didn't treat the game with respect, then you weren't playing. And I think ultimately the game rewards people that treat it the right way. And from a young age, I think that was a big factor to me. Pete talked about St. Xavier High School and how big of an impact that only had on me, but my brothers, my dad, my grandpa, my uncles, my cousins that all went there. We were very fortunate in Cincinnati to have a good community, not only in sports, but also school as well. And then last but not least, my family's here. Uncle Dave and Aunt Diane, both my grandmas, my mom and my dad, my brother Henry, and then my older brother John is not able to make it, but he was a year older than me in high school, and he was 2 lockers down, so he was always playing nice big brother, trying to help me out. He asked for my locker combination one time because he had to get something out of it. And I remember walking up there, and he can't hide if he's excited at all. And he was sitting at his locker, and he was smirking. And I was like, something's going on. And I just remember opening up my locker, and it was like a waterfall of gear. All fell on top of me. He opened up my locker. All the older guys, who's a year older than me, all the seniors filled my locker up with everything that they could find: shoulder pads, knee pads, thigh pads, helmets, old mouth guards, whatever it could have been. And when I opened up that door, that all fell down, and they all came out from the sides of the lockers, and we're all laughing, and John was just smirking in his chair, and I was like, man, you got me right there. But I think I was very fortunate, Joe, you mentioned it, the letter that I wrote to you, and I think I wasn't smart enough to do that. My parents always talked about humility, and you never get anywhere by yourself, and it's important to talk to people about thanking them. You know, you didn't have to come talk to me. You could have talked to a million other guys. Maybe I was the first guy you saw, but it made an impact on my career, and I think it's important when you have impacts on your career from different people that you thank them. So that was my mom and my dad. My name might have been on the bottom of it, but
it was them that came up with that, and I think I have two brothers that I'm very fortunate to have that. Everybody's really good at talking to you when things are going well, when you're playing well, when you're having a good time. But when things are difficult and you have real stuff to talk about, as you get older, things get tighter, and you got to make sure that there's a group of people that you're willing to talk about. And I've been very fortunate to have good people around me my whole life, and I have got 4 people in my family, direct family, mom and dad, and 2 brothers that have been very helpful with me throughout my career in navigating the last few years since I got done playing. A lot of change, but change is good. Just got to find a way to navigate it correctly. So the biggest thing I want to say is thanks to the LaRosa's family, big impact on my life, and there's been plenty of nights of LaRosa's pizza in our house. I don't have any cool stories about beating people because of eating LaRosa's, but you guys are a big part of the Cincinnati community, and I'm very proud to be from Cincinnati, so thanks, guys.
Well done, Luke. Orlando Scales, elder class of 2009. This is a quote from him now. They got hold of one of my high school coaches who gave them my number, and then they reached out to me. That is the sort of roundabout manner in which Orlando Scales found out that he had a front row seat for this afternoon's Hall of Fame ceremony. Perseverance obviously paid off for us and him, and he tells me he was very excited at the news, adding, sometimes we have a tendency to live in the past. I prefer not to, but I have twin boys, and this will be good for them. But it also will be great to catch up with my old friends and coaches. A pivotal moment for Orlando in his sports career happened when he took up wrestling around the 5th grade. Quoting now, I got pinned in about 90 seconds, and then the guy danced around afterwards. It was bad. I never got revenge on that guy, but it lit the fuse. Wrestling helped him with his football career, and football footwork helped him with his wrestling. A perfect pairing that led to great success in both, but most notably in wrestling. But that 90-second humiliation in 5th grade was the key. From there, it was a test of heart, dedication, and determination. As he put it, who wants it more? Who has the will to overcome any obstacle? Clearly, Orlando Scales did. He credits his coaches, his teammates, his workout partners, his parents, his family, but in the final analysis, it was him and him alone on that mat. And he richly deserves what is being bestowed on him today, namely the designation of LaRosa's High School Hall of Famer. Please welcome Orlando Scales, elder high school class of 2009.
Hello, how you doing? I don't got much to say. I just want to thank God, the LaRosa's committee, and of course Buddy LaRosa's for having us. And I want to thank you guys for allowing us to celebrate and get honored in front of our friends and family. First, I'd like to thank Joe Lambers. I remember walking in 5th grade, knew nothing about wrestling. I thought I was going to do WWE. Well, at the time it was WWF. I was like, man, Dad, where's the ropes at? Where's the cheers? No idea what wrestling was. I just remember Joe was quiet. Joe was very, very quiet. Him and his family, brothers, dad, wife was there, kids was running around. I had no idea what I was getting into. Joe opened his arms, his family to me and my family, and never looked back. And he's still here to this day, and I want to thank Joe for being here to honor me today. Next, I'd like to honor the elder wrestling community and family coaches. I'll start off with Coach O. Coach Overjohn. Weird story is he was also my drill partner. He was the year before, he was another guy's drill partner, Sean Jameson, who I was behind that won a state championship also, or state runner-up. He just hit his shoulder or elbow, but he was his drill partner, and he had to wrestle with me the year after, and then next 3 years. And he was a lot smaller than me. We banged up his shoulder pretty good, and I feel bad, but he always came in every day to wrestle with me. He was also the math teacher. If I needed anything to do with school-wise, he was there. He was just a big impact on my life. It wasn't just for coaching, it was also just life. If I needed anything, I could go to him, like Sunday dinners, Saturday dinners. Wife was always there, his daughters. It was just great. I mean, I was like another son. Next, I'd like to honor Coach Massmester. Coach Massmester was an older guy. He wanted to say he was younger, but he was an older guy. He would just walk around and just give you like just little messages. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna show you how to do this move. It was more, hey, how's mom and dad? And then he would just walk away. So I just want to thank you for that. Coach Schultz, his son, Jake Schultz, is one of my best friends. He was always one of the lighter guys, and I was one of the bigger guys. We grew up together. 5th grade and up. We grew up together. He was the smallest, I was the biggest. And it was weird because we used to lay on the mat throughout breaks, and he would lay on top of me, and we just fall asleep. It had to, I'm telling you, it had to be the weirdest thing ever. A redhead kid and a big old black kid just laying in the middle of the mat. But throughout, we grew up, and we're still friends. He was in my wedding, I'm in his wedding, and we're gonna have a ball when he gets married in the next year or so. But for Coach Schultz, we would always go and have team parties at his house, and I'm sure we used to mess his house up, or we used to eat so much food at his house, and he never complained, but at least not to us. You know, we'd clean up afterwards, but he was always there, and we used to always call him because if something happens, he always cries. It was always a good cry, but he was always the rough coach also. So it was kind of a mixture. He was a rough coach, but he was always cry when something special happened. So it was a great experience, you know, just to get that soft side of him also. Then Coach Dick Mccoy, he was my Kerry Combs. Yeah, Kerry Combs. He was my Kerry Combs. He would make you go wrestle. He would make you wrestle and wrestle through a brick wall. He wasn't a great technician, but he could tell you of life. And to this day, I could call him now, and he'd pick up the phone and talk to me for an hour. And not about wrestling, not about sports, just life. And I want to thank you for that, for always being there. Then Miss Farino. Miss Farino didn't care about sports. She worked at Elder. She was admissions. She worked in the alumni admissions office. And every morning I go there and just say hello to her. Just make sure she was there. Make sure, you know, how's the husband, how's life going. And, you know, she was just a bright spot of my 4 years until now, you know, in my life. And I don't know where I would be at without her being there at that time. I mean, even today, she was, you know, I say, hey, Miss Reno, I need you to come to the banquet. Oh, I'm coming. You know, it was no, hey, when it's going to be? No, I'm coming, you know. So I want to thank you for always being a Miss Reno. And then for my parents, my dad, many road trips, going up north, crazy story. Junior high, we were on our way up to Cleveland for the CITs, the Catholic Invitational Tournament up in Cleveland. Well, I think we were going to St. Ed. Snowstorm, blizzard. Couldn't see in front of us. I think we made it to about Columbus, and it was so bad, the windshield wipers stopped working. So we on the highway banging the windshield wipers to get the windshield wipers to work while he's trying to drive. Long story short, we made it. I got my butt kicked while I was up there. I think I had to take like 4, but it was just a great experience. My mom, she was always there. My biggest motivator, if I needed anything, cook dinners. It was always there when I first got home from practice or school. Laundry is always done. My sisters, they was my biggest supporters. They was there keeping me out of trouble. My brother-in-law, he's new to the family, short time, but he always give me these long night speeches just about life. And then my nephew, I know what I did in sports, but he was my biggest motivator. My biggest athletic achievement was watching him make it to state freshman year. So that was big for me, just for life. And then my boys, they're 4 years old. Just to see them grow, I just want to continue to see them grow. And live life. So I just want to thank again. Thank you guys for having us.
You ready? Yeah, hang on just a second. You can stay there. Not just yet. I've gotten a number of very nice and flattering awards lately, but I was very surprised and pleased when I was informed of my inclusion in this year's class of LaRosa Hall inductees. That was Coach Jerry Derger's response when I asked him about his immediate reaction after being informed of his induction today. He added, "Those other commendations were nice, but Buddy LaRosa's was always big and was very important to people, including me. It is a great feeling. Buddy and Hank Zurich used to do that deal in the paper I was in a couple of times, but this is very neat. And the fact that Buddy, like me, went to Roger Bacon, this kind of caps my career, and I feel good about it. I've been so fortunate. I've had good kids, great parents. It's been a real joy over these years. And to hear that I had pretty broad support from the selection committee is very gratifying as well. I've been blessed. I won't belabor the point. Let's hear from the man himself and our final class of 2021 LaRosa's High School Hall of Famer, Coach Jerry Derger. Here, let's flip this around this way so you don't be poking out, fumbling. There you go.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm last. Come on, be honest. Good God, thanks. He's last. I will be short and sweet. I'll try my best, okay? I told Danny if I go over my limited amount of time, 6 minutes, I think, blow the whistle, give me a T, I'll stop. But hopefully I can keep your attention for a while. I know it's been a long day. Be honest with me. I know these young people here say, Dale, why don't you get out of here? Why don't you get out of here? Or this other guy says, I got a tea time at 3 o'clock. Holy smokes. So, whatever. I will do my best. I have cut out a lot of things that I was going to say simply because one of my former players, Steve Sylvester, has kind of arranged a little party afterwards, and he has a gentleman here taping, and he wants to tape this and show it when we have this little party. So bear with me, okay? I think I will stay with you. I am different in many ways, as you'll find out after I get talking here. All right, first of all, congratulations to the winners. Congratulations and thank you to the LaRosa people. I wish Buddy was here because we have a little in common too. But the most important thing that I want to make sure that I get across in my little talk here is, hey, it's not me, it's my players, it's my parents that have brought me to this point. And I want to make sure that that's the highlight of my talk. I've been blessed. You know, I'm Catholic. I go to HM, and there's a Father Tom Kreidler over there who's retired. And I went to his last mass, and he kept using this word. I've been blessed. I've been blessed. And I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of stealing his little thing. I've been blessed. I've been blessed, believe me, in different ways than Father Tom, but it makes good. Why me? I haven't scored any points. I have scored a few points in this place, so believe it, I'll get to it in a minute. All right? No pounds, no points, no rebounds, no assists, none of that. So, my name's kind of the show here, and I'm getting credit for all this, but I want to make sure my players and my parents know that Coach Derger wants the honor to go there. That's why I stress that out first. I've had blessed with players and parents. It's just been great. Next thing I want to mention is geography as to where you all are. You probably don't really know, but I'm going to brief you a little bit. You're in St. Bernard, Ohio. All right? That's my hometown. This is my school, Roger Bacon. I went here and all that. There's a cemetery across the street you might have noticed. It's called St. John Cemetery. What do you mention that for? Because I grew up there. My dad was the superintendent of St. John Cemetery. I did a lot of work at St. Clement, or St. John Cemetery. I cut a lot of grass. Yep. I even dug some graves. And I'm sure that's new to all of you. Not with a backhoe, with an old spade and a pick, huh? Tough. No, but I'm not over here. I didn't come out of the grave. You know, I was born in 1936, but I lived my first 30 years from the cemetery, okay? Just to make that sure. All right, also, geography-wise, up the road is St. Clement School, St. Clement Church, where how many people live in a place where you go to grade school and a church a half a block from your house. You go to high school a half a block the other way. Was I ever late? I was. And Roger Bacon, pretty disciplined school, which was obviously great with me. And if you were late, all the other doors were closed. You had to come through his back door. And there's Father Allen sitting there saying, Derger, how could you be late? You live right across the street, for goodness sake. And I tried to make some kind of excuse. So no. After school for the week in junk. Means 30 minutes after school, all right? St. Clement. I gotta mention that because I went to grade school there, played sports there. I had probably the best coach as far as, not so much as far as the sports, but what he taught me and did for me as far as life situations, which I'll mention in a minute. All right? Where you are. This is the gym. The Roger Bacon Gym. All right? I'm taking you back. 1954. There's a hoop right there. There's a hoop right there. Scoreboard up there. Okay? I'm going to take you back to 1954. I'm a senior. All right? We're playing Dayton Roosevelt, #1 team in the state. All right? There's the basket right there. Derger's on the foul line. 1-1. We're behind by 1 point with about 10 seconds to go. Derger makes a first one. He misses the second one. He had a chance to beat the #1 team in the state. We go overtime and we lose. So that's a memory. Second memory from here. I remember sitting right there. Yep, sitting right there with the bench. My coach was Joe Lukey. Joe Lukey, great guy. For you older people, you might remember. He was a great star at UC back in those days. And Joe, like all us coaches, we get a little excited at times. And Joe had a vision problem of sorts. But anyway, I'm out of the game, and I'm sitting there. And Joe, if you've sat there, that's a bad seat, because you're always getting there. What score? How much time's left? How much time's left? Well, this night, I remember, he's hitting there, and he goes, get in for Derger, get in for Derger. And I didn't know quite how to react. And finally, after he poked me about 4 times, I said, Coach, I am Derger. So eventually, but that's just a thought that I'm back in this place. I couldn't hardly believe it, you know, but I can see it. I can see the miss. I can see Joe, I'm sorry, I'll get in for hotel. Okay, I got you. Okay, I mentioned Joe Lukey as one of my coaches that this was great guy. But my coach at St. Clement, which I'm going to mention, probably unusual for a player and a coach to talk about his grade school coach, Joe Hill. Coached there for about 35 years. And I'm just going to mention a couple things. He coached all sports, but the thing that I remember about him the most was these couple things. After I graduated from Bacon and on to XU and the Army and all that, Joe would, and this is pretty fabulous to me, I was in the Army. Every week I got a letter from Joe, typewritten, 2 pages. He used to type with 2 fingers, but he would bring me up to date. Every day, not every day, but once a week, I got that letter. Every birthday, my birthday June 30th, every birthday I would get a card from Joe. He would sign everything. Your pal, Joe. That's pretty unbelievable. He just not only wrote to me, but to my fellow players that were playing with me. That was super. And the last thing, and probably the most important thing that he taught me and came back to, wow, this is good. Joe, my first time I made the 8th grade team. They were called the Cardinals. Very good. A lot of very good St. Clement players played down there. You would know they're Hall of Famers as players. But the point I wanted to make was that he would, my first day, my first night actually, we played a game, and I come dressed and you get in the locker room and, nah, leave your coat on, leave your coat on. So I go, what are we doing? So whole team, follow me. So we go down, and the church is right next to the school. All right? We go in the back, we go underneath. They got the neatest grotto that you ever be. If you ever get a chance to stop in the St. Clement Church and look at the grotto, it's awesome. But I was walking down the street. I said, Jim, I'm talking with Jim Sicking, he was an 8th grader. And I said, what are we doing? What are we doing? Look at the game in half an hour. Man, we're going, you'll find out. So I said, okay. So we walk in there, and this was a routine of every game. We did that before the game. We heard, and I was taught, the prayer, the memorare. I don't know who's here as far as being Catholic or not, but the memorare is a super prayer. It goes, you know, remember this your whole life through. Anyway, I will teach you if you want. Remember, I'm not going to take time on doing that today. But the reason I bring that up is because it so impressed me that every day, when I became a coach at Muller and McNick, I brought that with me. Right? And to take that story a little further is that I had a player in 1982, and well, they put my name on the court. When they put that on, I get this letter from one of my former players that played in '82, and I hadn't heard from him since then. Now we're in 2000, and the letter so impressed me, and so made me so proud. I've got 2 wins, but this made me prouder than any win or any regional championship or anything. The kid says, Coach, congratulations on them putting your name on the court. Well deserved. And it went on to say, I want to tell you that I came to McNicholas. I'm from Milford. I'm not a Catholic. I wasn't a Catholic. I never knew that. But he says, I want to tell you, Coach, that I and my family, I now live in South Carolina because of the job situation. And I have 5 kids, and we are all devoted Catholics. I am now a Catholic, and that just struck me. And I know, as he said, where it came from. It came from that, and I just kind of thought, wow. So to me, that made me feel very, very proud. the member of our, the next little point I made here was my start as far as coaching. I'll do it quick, all right? In 1954, I graduated from here. And they asked me to coach. I don't know where it came from, but Joe Elman retired. They asked me to coach the 8th grade. Yeah, you think I can do that? Yeah, I'll do it. So I coached the 8th grade at St. Clement when I was just graduated from Roger Bacon. The neat thing about that story is if you're at Hall from Bacon, my Richie Cluse was on that team in the 8th grade. Richie Cluse became a Roger Bacon coach down here. 10 years later, believe it or not, we're playing Roger Bacon. I was a Moeller then. We're playing Roger Bacon in the finals, the district finals at UC Fieldhouse. Dick Cluse coaching, very good Roger Bacon team, and me coaching a Moeller team. I happen to have two players, former players that were on that team, but Richie Cluse is their coach, and I'm going, wow, this is kind of neat, you know. Come on, I know you want to know who won. We won. Oh, but 2-minute warning, so if you don't blow the whistle, I don't pay that much attention to officials. I'm just kidding. Okay, but Steve and Mike Sylvester are both over there. Also have Lenny Matuzik, also Coach Buddy Bell. So I'll give a little quick story on that. Okay, and from going from St. Clement as a one-year coach, I went in the Army, 2 years in the Army, came back out. They kind of demoted me, so to speak, at St. Clement. Somebody else took over the 8th grade and said, Coach, we want you to start a new team, 5th and 6th grade team. And I want to call them the St. Clement Chippies. The 8th grade is St. Clement Cardinals, so they kept that in line. Why the Chippies? Well, that was my nickname, so to speak. I used to say I was going to catch a chip on it. They are so quick. I never accomplished that, but that name. So feeling like I was demoted, that was the greatest thing ever happened to me. You know why? Because that group of 5th and 6th graders, which are still around, believe it or not, and still brag that they're the best team that Coach Derger ever coached. 36-0, and we were able to win the big one. Cerner still hasn't won a state championship, so they're bragging. It wasn't really a state championship in 5th and 6th grade, but they thought that was pretty neat, and I thought that. Okay, the last few things I will say then. How did I get to be high school coach? My friend, Jim Putoff, ex-Fame, got the head job at Moeller when Moeller was just beginning. 1962, they just had freshmen. 1963, had 2 classes. And Jim asked me to come out and coach the freshmen. So I did that, and eventually I coached the reserves for 3 years. And finally, Jim changed jobs, and I took over as varsity player, coach, and for 5 years. Left Moeller to go to XU as assistant coach, freshman coach at that time, and that didn't really work out. I was under Coach Grayson. Okay, enough on that. And again, I mentioned my former players over here. One story in regards to my players, I gotta mention, because if I don't mention it, then I'll mention it. Party, he's got that right. Just like an official, always right. I'm just kidding. Okay, but we will, and I do have to Hey, mention my family. Some of them are over here. If I don't mention that, hey, they're going to give me. So with that, I want to say my mom has passed away, obviously, but I'm so proud of my mom. My mom's the best mom that ever say. I know you're all prejudiced with your own mom, but I really feel that. I will, however, give her 2 losses. You know, we've won a lot of games, but we also lost a lot of games. And I blame 2 of them on her. Why is that? 2 of them on her, because I came home one night after playing Elder, and I come in and I had the so-called bad luck. And she goes, what'd you do? Ah, we lost. Oh no, I just spent 2 hours praying to Saint Nick. Oh, Mom, no wonder we lost. You're praying to the wrong guy. It's not Saint Nick, it's Bishop Mick Nicholas. So get that straight, and we won't lose any more games. The last story I just have to mention this as far as Buddy Bell is concerned. I coached him at Moeller, and of course you know him as a famous baseball player. I was very close friends with him. I'm up and look, this true story. I hadn't hit the paper, but true story. We're up there, and I had 2 players with me, young guys. We were at a camp up there, and Buddy got his tickets to go to the Cleveland Indian game. So we're at the game, and Buddy, I think it was his 3rd time at that. And I got somewhat of a loud mouth, so to speak. And I yelled out, we had close seats. I yelled, hit the ball, Bill! So, honest, you talk about calling a shot. He backed up, he heard me, he knew we were there. And he kind of took his bat. I went and pointed it out there too. Once he got the next bit, he hit over. He called his shot. You know, Lotto supposedly called his shot. Babe Ruth, famous called shot. And when he finished across home plate, he tipped his hat and looked over. He knew where it was sitting. So that's a pretty neat little story. I'm going to end by doing something for the man here, and I'll give it to you, and you make sure you give these to your dad. These are 2 cups that the last, when I retired at McNick, when Buddy had this saying, good, better, best, never let it rest, do the good or better, and the better, best. Pretty good saying, right? And at one time, his dad was down here, and his dad graduated from here too. I said, hey buddy, I use that a lot. Who the heck does it belong to? He said, Coach, I learned that from an uncle of mine, John Derger, who was an English teacher down here. And I said, really? Well, he's my uncle, so I'm more in line with it. So that too, so that you understand. The other thing, pass this along to him. I'll give him a new saying that comes from nephew Derger. Maybe he'll like this. Mirror, mirror on the wall, let me hear my inner call. All I ever want to do is make the best pizza there can be. Ooh, okay, see if he'll pick up on that. All right. And the last thing, I know I'm going to frighten you a little bit, but I'm going to end up with something that I did when I was put in the State Coaches Hall of Fame. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine heading away. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day, oh, Mr. Bluebird on my shoulder. It's the truth, it's actual, everything is satisfaction. zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. Wonderful feeling, wonderful day. All right, that's the way I feel. Hope you feel that. Thank you. All right. Appreciate it.
Here, don't forget this. That's yours.
Right. I just brought this set. I don't know if you remember. This is way back in the old days.
Oh, yeah.
That Buddy LaRosa used to put out, and a guy by the name of Hank Zurich. They used to make these.
You were a doll.
And I was on, I don't know how he did it, but it was really neat. That was in the paper. So that's my number one.
Jerry Derger, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? The one, the only. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the conclusion of today's program. I would ask that all of our honorees please remain within arm's reach so we can get some group pictures. Congratulations to all of them for their outstanding careers in today's testimonial and remarks. Thanks as well to everyone here at Roger Bacon High School for making us feel so very welcome. Our gratitude as well to Beth Rupert, Mike Palercio, Buddy, Mike, and Mark LaRosa, Jeff Lovelace, RPI Printing, and John Powers for their efforts today, along with the fine folks at ICRC-TV.com for today's streaming services. It has been my privilege to be included. One last ovation for our inductees and honorees, and a good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen.